Hello and welcome to another video by Luca. At this point in time, pardon me for laughing, but ha! Bloody well called it. And everybody that I know and have talked to this about knew wargaming was by no means going to get rid of this monster. And it's pretty much the KV-1S reskinned. Well, the current KV-1S looks pretty much identical to it. Very similar armor, frontal profile, pretty much same armor thicknesses, and it gets the same gun. It has the same gun. Nothing has changed about this tank, except for the name. It's the KV-85. Though, that being said, it has a little bit of options to it. Has a 34 kilometer top speed, churns at 30 degrees per second. I'll get back to the guns in a moment. I'm all over the place at the moment because I'm just sitting here laughing internally right now because it's pretty much the current KV-1S with a gun choice. That's pretty much it. Used to be you had this gun as far as I remember, or this gun. But I'll get back to that in a minute. Armor at the front, 75 millimeters thick, pretty well angled. They did remove the shot trap effect, pretty much. So this thing's probably going to be very, very, very bouncy from the front, because that is quite well angled. And it doesn't lead directly up into the bottom of the turret anymore. So that's a good thing. 60th side, 60th rear. Turret front, I believe the turret's pretty much identical to the KV-1S on the live server. 100 millimeters at the front, 90 at the sides and rear. It's got a slow turret turn rate of 28 degrees per second. Typical crappy Russian view range for this tier, 340 meters, 440 meter signal range. So pretty much buck standard. It does get a new radio designation that I'm aware of, but still pretty much a load of crap. I've not actually played this tank yet, but just looking at it, I could tell it's pretty much the KV-1S on the live server. Wargaming, you sly dogs. And it's mostly because it has the exact same gun at the exact same tier with essentially better armor. Pretty much the same speed, all that fun stuff. Crew skills, repairs for the commander, is the way this thing plays. You roll up, you derp him in the face, roll back. To aid with that, snapshot, and smooth ride. For the loader, safe stowage, it's nice to have it. Pure and simple. The turret dimensions are slightly different, I believe. Let me grab the IS real quick. Yeah, turret dimensions are just a bit different. Seems like they've changed that around a little bit more too. But, oh well. We're talking about the KV-85, not the IS. Equipment fit, ventilation, large caliber gun rammer, and I typically go for enhanced gun laying drive on these tanks. Partly because, one, this thing does not get the vertical stabilizers, so hammering down the abhorred reload time, or not the reload, but the aim time of this gun is nice. And okay, that's new. They did change the gun stats just a little. It's got a 0.5 gun dispersion rate, 3.6 aiming time. Typical crappy 3 rounds per minute, so that hasn't changed. The penetration and damage hasn't changed at all. This tank just hasn't changed. It's the same bloody thing. I just can't help but laugh. That's all that really needs to say about it. It's the KV-1S on the live server, but better. Just for entertainment's sake, let's see if we can get into a match with this thing. Just based on the pure lol factors. If we don't get a match in 30 seconds, I'm not going to bother with it. So I don't want to take up too much time with this video because there really isn't much to talk about this tank that can't already be said about the KV-1S. Okay. No. Okay. Nothing really to talk about. I guess to pad out this video, I could talk a little bit about the user interface changes that you can see up here. You get your name. On the test server it says your server. I'm pretty sure that'll say east, west, 1, 2, 3, 4, or whatever, which is a new thing. You click on that. It brings this down, which pretty much is your general stats for your service record. You get your extend premium account time, create a platoon. That hasn't changed. This is your battle mode. So instead of having to click down here to bring this up, you just click off to the side, which is quite nice. Don't think that would be anything different just compared to what's on the live server there. Let's see, has pretty much what used to be over on this panel right up here, so it's out of the way, which is quite nice. Get rid of that. Your experience, your credits, gold, all that fun stuff. They added the stronghold button over to here. Let's click on that. Okay, not available on this server. Okay, how do I get out of that? There we go. Let's see. Yeah, this hasn't changed. This hasn't changed at all. Partly I think because the game servers are down and I'm still on the server. Service record, nothing's really changed here except for the medals that I highlighted in my first video with the Americans. Actually, just take a quick look over the tech tree and point out all the new stuff. Chaffee, they have rearranged the American light line. Chaffee used to be a dead end, now it goes down to the T-37, the Walker Bulldog, T-49, which leads down to the T-54E1. And now the M7 goes to T-21, T-71, T-69, and so on and so forth. There is a new German tank, which I will highlight in another video. Come over here, Leopard, GK281, Alpha Claudens Panther, and instead of that going to the Inden Panzer directly, which it still does, it now goes to the Spa Panzer RU-251, which is the tank I'll be covering in another video, which will lead to the Leopard Prototype A. Let's see, USSR. We got the two new light tanks, which start off at T-34, which goes to the MT-25, which used to be branched off the old KV-1S, but now leads to the LTTB, which is another tank I'll cover in a future video. T-54 light tank, which is also in an upcoming video, once I get to fiddle around on the test server a bit more, which leads to the T-54, and so on and so forth. So that hasn't changed. France, Britain, China, and Japan have not had anything changed to their tech trees that I can see. Pretty much these are all the same things. Go back to garage. This interface down here hasn't changed at all. This is pretty much the same thing. Contacts, chat channels, stuff like that. Missions. That hasn't changed as far as I can tell. Really about the only thing that they've changed is up here. Let's see if they've changed anything. Settings, graphics. That's a little weird. But, that's the same. That's the same. Controls, reticle. Pretty much nothing in here has changed. Though I have noticed a new sound. Which, when I actually get around to getting some gameplay footage, if I can, it sounds different when you bump into tanks. It has a new sound to it. I believe they have tinkered a little bit with the depth of sound, focusing mainly on the sound that the cannons make when they fire. It just sounds a little weightier, especially when you get something with a big caliber gun like a 152 or something of that nature. They definitely have a bit more of a thunderous effect to them that I've noticed. But I normally don't play with the stock sounds on my server. Really, that's pretty much all I can talk about right now, except they did reskin the IS-7. The wheels look pretty. Tracks, very, very new. But the turret seems a little bit off. The angle's more defined. It does have a new marker to it. No longer has the big gun thing that used to stick up off the back of the turret. Straight up, they have it laid down now, which is probably where that big difference of look comes from. Pretty much everything's a bit more defined overall. It seems that they flattened it out on the top a little bit. It definitely seems to me like they did that, because it used to have more of a dome effect. So we can look down the barrel. Ooh, smoothbore. That's interesting. Most of the time they just have the rifled barrels on them. That's neat. Really not much has changed about the IS-7. Same armor, all that fun stuff. It's just HD touch-up. Gotta say, it looks fairly nice. Would be better if my graphic settings weren't somehow set on the lowest possible. Don't know why the heck it did that, but I'm not going to mess with it right now. Oh, hello. Antenna. That's pretty much it. I've rambled on long enough. This has been Luca, and I'll see you next time.